They say the gods died, but their whispers still echo in the wind. Are you listening? The air trembles with the weight of unspoken truth, drawing us into a world where what we have been taught to forget still lingers just beyond the veil of sight. For too long, African spirituality has been dismissed, labeled as lost or dead, relegated to the footnotes of history, or reduced to exotic curiosities. The gods of our ancestors were said to have fallen silent, their names faded into dust beneath the march of colonial conquest and religious imposition. But this story is incomplete. It is a narrative woven by those who feared the power these spirits represented, who sought to control by erasing the connection between the living and the divine. The truth is far richer, far more enduring. The gods were never lost. They did not die. They transformed, surviving through the resilience of those who remembered them in secret, who carried their names in whispers, their symbols in hidden cloths, their rituals in guarded spaces. This journey will take you beyond the shallow surface of history into the living, breathing pulse of a spirituality that never truly left us. From ancient shrines to modern celebrations, from whispered prayers to bold declarations of identity, the gods of Africa continue to walk among us, unseen yet present, silent yet speaking in ways that only the willing can hear. Stay with me, because what we are about to uncover will challenge what you thought you knew. This is not just a story of the past. It is a call to remember, to listen, and to reclaim what was never truly lost. Long before the world was divided by borders and mapped by colonizers, before scripts were written and languages transcribed, the spirits walked freely among the people of Africa. These were not distant gods confined to temples or books, but living presences woven into the fabric of daily life. The Orisha, radiant and powerful, danced through the skies and rivers, through storms and harvests, embodying the forces of nature and human emotion. Ekwensu, the cunning negotiator and warrior spirit, stood at crossroads, challenging mortals to consider their choices, to weigh balance against desire, and to embrace the complexities of life. Mami Wata, shimmering with the mystery of deep waters, lured with beauty, but offered lessons in the unseen currents that pull beneath the surface. Ogun, fierce and unyielding, forged pathways with iron, his hammer echoing through forests and mountains, a testament to the relentless drive of creation and destruction. Nomo, the primordial twin spirits of the Dogon, spoke in riddles and harmonies, keepers of cosmic balance and communicators with the infinite. These spirits were not just stories told in hushed voices around fires. They were present in the world itself. In ancient shrines hidden beneath dense canopies, their symbols were etched into stone and wood, offerings placed on smooth altars, and prayers murmured into the night air. Masks painted with vibrant colors and adorned with feathers and beads captured their essence, transforming dancers into living embodiments of the divine during rituals that blurred the line between human and spirit. Sacred groves whispered with the songs of birds and the rustle of leaves, places where the veil thinned, and those who listened with open hearts could hear the voices of ancestors and gods alike. Rivers flowed not merely with water, but with stories, with life force, with the presence of spirits who guided, challenged, and nurtured. The gods of Africa were not one-dimensional. They were protectors who shielded their devotees from harm, teachers who whispered secrets of survival and growth, punishers who corrected transgressions with storms and misfortune, and life-givers who blessed fields, homes, and wombs. Their stories carried lessons for navigating the complexities of human existence, blending reverence with humor, patience with urgency, and wisdom with the unpredictable twists of fate. Through these stories, generations learned not just about their gods, but about themselves, about the strength required to face life's challenges, the humility to seek guidance, and the courage to embrace change. In this journey through the origins of these enduring spirits, we are not simply recounting mythology, but stepping into a living legacy. The ancient shrines, the masks, the sacred groves, and the flowing rivers are not relics of a forgotten past. They are pathways to understanding a spiritual world that continues to pulse beneath the surface of modern life. These gods were never confined to history. They are forces that still shape, still whisper, still challenge us to remember who we are and where we come from. And as we delve deeper into their stories, we begin to see the threads that connect us to a world where the divine is not above us, but among us, calling us to listen. When European colonizers set foot on African soil, they brought with them more than weapons and trade. They carried a spiritual arrogance that sought to overwrite centuries of indigenous wisdom. The shrines where the gods once stood tall were torn down, their altars desecrated, and their sacred symbols defiled. Where once communities gathered in dance and song to honor the spirits, silence descended, broken only by the sermons of foreign preachers who labeled these practices as pagan and heathen. The gods were not banished by their own will, but driven underground by an imposed narrative that sought to erase the old ways and replace them with a rigid, alien framework of belief. In this new world order, the vibrant and complex cosmologies of Africa were reduced to simplistic dichotomies of good and evil. The deities who once embodied the delicate balance between chaos and order, growth and decay, were cast as demons, forces to be feared rather than revered. Where Ekwensu once stood as a cunning negotiator and a force of challenge, he was rebranded as the embodiment of treachery and sin. The masked figures who danced to honor the spirits were accused of harboring evil. Their performances halted, their costumes confiscated or destroyed. Sacred groves were cut down and burned, river spirits dismissed as superstition, and oral histories replaced with written texts proclaiming a single truth, a singular path of salvation. Yet the spirits did not die. Though the shrines crumbled and the festivals were silenced, the essence of these gods slipped beneath the surface, into hidden spaces where memory lingered. In hushed tones behind closed doors, the old stories continued to be told. In secret rituals, masked dances returned, not to open fields, but to quiet rooms and secluded forest clearings. The gods adapted, wearing new masks and adopting new symbols, waiting patiently for a time when they could emerge once more. The colonizers may have believed they had stamped out the old ways, but they underestimated the resilience of memory and the unbreakable bond between the people and their gods. This era of erasure was not a clean break, but a forced suppression, a pushing of the sacred into the shadows. Yet, in the flicker of a candle in a hidden shrine, in the quiet echo of a drum played softly beneath the cover of night, the gods whispered their defiance. Their stories were not forgotten. They were waiting, evolving, preparing for the day when their voices could rise again, unshackled by the chains of colonial misrepresentation. What seemed lost was in truth only waiting. The spirits had not died, they had gone underground, and they were watching, listening, ready to return. When the colonial shadows descended and the sacred spaces of African spirituality were forced underground, the gods found new ways to speak. They did not vanish, nor did they cower in silence. Instead, they adapted, their voices merging with new forms, their symbols cloaked in the garments of imposed religions. This was survival through syncretism, an ingenious blending of African spiritual systems with the outward forms of Christianity. In Vodou, Santería, Candomblé, and other diasporic traditions, the Orishas and other deities found new names and new faces. Ekwensu became hidden beneath the image of a saint with a complex story. Mami Wata's shimmering presence merged with Marian devotion. Ogun's iron will took on the mantle of a Christian warrior. The gods who had once walked openly were now wrapped in new robes, speaking through coded rituals and whispered prayers disguised as hymns. The survival of these spirits was not merely accidental. It was a deliberate act of resistance and remembrance. In church services, people sang praises that doubled as invocations to the old gods. During Catholic feast days, they gathered not just to honor the imposed saints, but to celebrate the Orishas hiding beneath the surface. Statues of saints adorned with beads and colorful cloth were, to those who knew, clear markers of a deeper, older presence. The merging of iconography was more than aesthetic. It was a language of survival, a code that passed through generations, ensuring that the gods remained close even when their names were forbidden. Rituals were performed in secret, behind closed doors or deep in the forests, blending Christian prayers with traditional chants, sacred dances with the movements of masquerade. Each gesture, each word, was a quiet act of defiance against the erasure of the old ways. The visual tapestry of this hidden survival was rich and vibrant. In processions where saints were carried high, those who watched closely could see the colors of the orishas woven into the fabric, the sacred symbols painted onto the saints' robes. In festivals that appeared to honor Christian holidays, drumming and dancing erupted with a rhythm unmistakably rooted in African tradition. The gatherings were not mere celebrations, but sacred spaces where the old gods whispered through new languages, reminding the faithful that they were never truly gone. They thought they silenced us, but we spoke in new tongues. These words are more than a statement. They are a testament to the resilience of a people and their gods. The voices of the spirits were never silenced. They were transformed, adapted, and hidden in plain sight. In every coded ritual, every clandestine gathering, every vibrant celebration that masked its true purpose, the gods endured. They waited, knowing that one day their names would be spoken openly once more, their dances would reclaim the open air, and their songs would rise without fear. Their survival was not just about persistence. It was about adaptation, about the unbreakable bond between spirit and people, a bond that no colonizer could sever. The gods who were once forced into silence are rising once more, their voices echoing through the streets, fields, and digital landscapes of a modern world hungry for reconnection. Across Africa and its diaspora, a cultural renaissance is underway, a resurgence of festivals, documentaries, music, and art that do more than just recall the past. They resurrect it, breathe life into it, and weave it into the present. In open fields where silence once reigned, drums now beat with renewed fervor, their rhythms calling forth dancers clad in vibrant traditional attire. The air is alive with chants, ululations, and the pulse of natural sounds layered over contemporary rhythms that blend ancient spirit with modern sensibility. These gatherings are not reenactments, they are affirmations of continuity, living proof that the gods never left, that their presence is as immediate now as it was generations ago. Amidst this resurgence are personal stories that illuminate the intimate threads connecting individuals to ancestral spirituality. A young woman in Lagos dons beads and flowing cloth, her face painted in the colors of her lineage as she steps into a sacred dance at a festival honoring the orishas. Her movements are both learned and instinctual, a dialogue between memory and present moment. Each step a testament to her reclamation of a heritage long whispered about but seldom embraced. In Accra, a group of artists transforms a once-abandoned warehouse into a gallery of bold canvases where deities like Ekwensu and Mami Wata re-emerge in vibrant hues, their forms both traditional and futuristic. Through digital platforms, spoken-word poets weave ancient proverbs into verses that resonate with a generation raised in a globalized, digitized world, blending the old wisdom with the urgency of contemporary issues. The soundscape of this awakening is as complex and layered as the history it honors. Drums thrum beneath the chatter of a marketplace, the call of birds mingles with the cadence of human voices raised in chant, and somewhere in the mix, a bass line hums with the promise of something new being born from something old. Youths dressed in traditional attire move seamlessly among modern structures, their presence a visual testament to the blending of past and present. They are not reenactors playing a role. They are living embodiments of a culture that refuses to be confined to history books or sanitized narratives. Their presence, their dance, their voices declare to the world that the gods are not gone. They have returned, renewed, and reimagined for a generation unafraid to claim their spiritual inheritance. In these moments, amidst the beat of drums and the swirl of color, the boundary between the mundane and the sacred dissolves, and the gods walk once more among their people. African spirituality, with all its complexity and beauty, has always been a testament to something greater than the limitations of time and space. It is not a linear story, not a straight line from origin to demise, but a cycle that weaves through generations, adapting and evolving while retaining its essence. The gods, those ancient and revered forces, were never confined to the pages of history or the ashes of forgotten rituals. They are not static relics of the past. They are living, breathing embodiments of nature, humanity, and the cosmos. They are the storms that cleanse and the rains that nourish, the the fires that destroy and the seeds that bloom, the silence of the mountain and the whispers of the wind. In their essence, they represent forces that are eternal, unstoppable, flowing through the world like rivers beneath the earth, hidden, yet always present. Even when colonial forces attempted to erase their names, their stories, and their symbols, these spirits persisted. They flowed beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to rise again. They adapted, as nature does, finding new pathways to sustain themselves in secret gatherings, in coded prayers, in the quiet resilience of those who refuse to forget. This cyclical nature of African spirituality reflects a profound truth. The gods are not bound by human constructs of defeat or disappearance. Like rivers flowing beneath the earth, they surge forward unseen, carving paths through rock and soil, shaping the landscape in ways both subtle and profound. Their presence is felt in the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of drums, the flicker of candlelight in a darkened room. Imagine in a quiet village square bathed in the silver glow of a full moon, a child dancing with bare feet upon the earth. Around them, elders watch with gentle smiles, guiding each movement, each step, as if the dance itself is a prayer, a calling, a conversation with the unseen. The air hums with quiet power, a connection that spans generations and realms. In that moment, the child is not just a dancer, but a vessel, embodying the spirits who have never truly left. The gods are not gone, they wait in the shadows, in the laughter of children, in the strength of elders, in the heartbeat of the earth itself. Their stories are not concluded, for they are woven into the very fabric of existence, flowing like an underground river, unseen yet unstoppable. The gods are not gone, they wait for us to remember, to listen, to honor. Will you hear them? Their voices are not lost in the silence of time, nor are they buried beneath the weight of colonial erasure. They are there, woven into the very fabric of existence, into the rhythms of nature, into the stories passed down from elders to children, into the beat of drums and the rustle of leaves. They have always been there, waiting for us to tune our ears, to open our hearts, to recognize that the divine is not a distant memory, but a living presence. Reclaiming, respecting, and exploring our spiritual roots is not an act of nostalgia. It is an act of survival, of identity, of resistance against the forces that sought to erase who we are. It is a way to reconnect with the wisdom that sustained our ancestors, to honor the resilience that allowed these traditions to endure through centuries of oppression, and to find meaning in a world that often feels fractured and disconnected. This is not just a spiritual journey, but a cultural and personal reclamation. It is a way to say, I see you, I hear you, I will not forget. If this story has stirred something within you, don't let it end here. Share this video with your family, your friends, your community. Start the conversation. The gods are waiting for us to remember. Subscribe to join this journey, and comment below with your thoughts, experiences, and questions. Let this be the beginning of a shared rediscovery, a collective return to the roots that ground us and the spirits that continue to walk among us. Thank you for being part of this journey, for listening, for remembering.